A very good evening, good day to everyone who could be tuning into this video. This is the very first exclusive video on the Uncle Juicy TV YouTube channel. And for my very first video, I would like to discuss the upcoming All Elite Wrestling console video game. Now, this is something that I've been thinking about for quite a long time in terms of when's it going to come out, what features is it going to have, are we finally going to see a competitive video game to compete against the likes of WWE gaming? Not that WWE has released a product for a couple of years after the very poorly received WWE 2K20. They have 2K22 coming in March this year. And I think from an AEW games perspective, that game coming out first will give the guys at Ukes who are developing the AEW game that little bit of an insight in terms of what's working well with the WWE game, how is it received by the audience, by the fan base, and then they can make any amendments to the AEW game as they go, which I think is a very, very important thing. So obviously, that's not the only game that's coming out this year, wrestling-wise. You've got the Wrestling Code, made by Virtual Basement. There is a couple of other independent games as well that are coming out that I will be looking at in more detail in future videos. And I think that is extremely exciting for the video game community that covers the wrestling genre. For too long, we have been, I think, almost destitute as a fan base to be able to experience anything along the line of quality competitive content. And now we're at a point where we are in a position where we can go back to where we were 20 years ago with different games, different consoles made by different providers, and that's really quite exciting. So we still don't have a release date yet for the AEW video game, and it's going to be obviously very interesting to see when that will come out, whether that will be a late 2022 release or whether it will go into next year. I'm really not too concerned about when it's going to be coming out, because I'd rather they take a while in creating this and doing a good job on it than rushing something just for the sake of meeting an internally created deadline. We want to have everything that was in the WWF No Mercy game on the N64, plus everything that was good about Ukes' SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. That was a very, very popular game from the SmackDown catalogue of games. If you can create a product that is going to bring all of the best parts of those two games together, then I think we are really going to be in for one hell of a gaming experience. If you then add into that maybe some kind of regular content drops, I really don't want to see a game that starts a yearly cycle of games. So like the 2K franchise, like FIFA, like Call of Duty. Of course that makes money, and ultimately business is business. But having a game that comes out maybe every couple of years, and then in between that, having some regular quality DLC contents that you could buy, move packs, new wrestlers, new arenas, entrance music from days gone past, essentially a product that just keeps refreshing. So it's not about just having to spend £50 or $50 on a new title every year. It's about just keeping that existing game primed and fresh. And I think that is something that the fan base would appreciate as well. And we've seen it for so many other games where you have those microtransactions that come out. But this needs to be quality content, not just buying pointless stickers or something to put on a loading screen or a feather for a gun or something pointless like that. You want to actually see new guys. When new wrestlers join the company, you want to see them added into the game within a couple of months of release. That level of quality and commitment from the people making the game at Ukes would be a real good thing with the fans, and it would really get that buy-in from people. There's some other really good YouTube creators for wrestling games on YouTube, such as Dan Cops and Smack Talks, and those are really guys that I've enjoyed watching over the years, and I think it's really now an opportunity that I would like to get involved in the AEW market in particular. I want to talk about some of the other wrestling games that are coming out as well, but I have high hopes for this game. Of course, it could turn out to be not very good or very well received, but I'm hoping that because of the amount of time they've spent making it and the amount of time invested in the game, financially as well as time by Tony Khan and Ukes, and the voice acting and the scanning and computerizing of people's moves, all of that could come to fruition and hopefully a very well received game. Even if it was to a lesser degree as good as No Mercy, but still in that ballpark, it will be well received. Now, I don't know what their expectations are in terms of potential sales, what their projections are, but these are all things that in time we'll be able to see as to whether or not this game is going to be something that will be well received. I think when you look at the roster depth of AEW, it started off with quite a small roster, but over the last 2 years, they've really worked hard in developing that roster. You've got now a very big roster to the extent that they've got 2 weekly televised shows plus a YouTube shows as well, Dark and Elevation, and Dynamite and Rampage obviously being the televised shows. And then you're in a situation now where it's really a product that people will actually want to be able to play on a video game, because you've got that choice. You've got Bryan Danielson, you've got CM Punk, you've got other acquisitions that have come from not just WWE, but New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, across the independent scene. And if it is in any way possible that they could feature some wrestlers who aren't even necessarily tied to AEW, but have appeared on AEW television, wrestlers who have been in the NWA, wrestlers who have been in Ring of Honor, and also more recently Impact Wrestling, because we've seen some excellent crossovers with people like Jay Lethal, the Good Brothers, and of course Christian and Kenny Omega being world champions and crossing over across the 2 brands. And I think that's really exciting as well. I do not know contractually or licensing wise how easy or difficult that will be for these guys to potentially feature in an AEW game if they are from another promotion. But I think it's something that could be looked at, hopefully is achievable, and actually that would really get me really excited in terms of the gaming potentials that would be available from that. In addition to the potential roster, the other things that came from the previous iterations of the SmackDown and No Mercy games was the sort of the free roam ability to be able to take your opponent from the ring, backstage, fighting in the locker rooms, fighting in the corridors, fighting into the parking lot, fighting in catering, into the boiler room. This is what was so good, is that you were almost limitless in terms of what you could do. The only real limitations being at the time the game being limited from a performance standpoint. But I think hopefully with the consoles the way they are now in terms of the spec, hopefully we will get a very, very polished game. And looking at the WWE game, which is upcoming, graphically, you cannot in any way knock its quality. It looks great. My concern with the WWE games, as with the AEW games, will be how will it play? How easy is it to control? Because ultimately, if it's complicated or you have to play stupid mini games to just get a pin or a submission, that's not going to be fun. It doesn't matter how good it looks. If it doesn't play and it's not easy to pick up, then people will lose faith. And that's true of any game. But I think in particular, a sporting arcade/simulator of a wrestling game needs that simplicity about it. So this will be the first of many games, AEW game videos that I want to get involved in and bring to you guys. This is my very first video. I will do more face videos in the future, as and when I've got my equipment and technology up and running. But all things considered, this will be the start of something very special, I hope. And we'll see where things go. Please look out for more videos on this channel. Please like and subscribe. And we'll see what information comes to light on the AEW game as the weeks and months progress. Thank you very much. This was Uncle Juicy TV, signing out for now. Bye-bye.